Hey, I'm Heather Prstansky, and I wanted to share with you a pretty cool story. I've been working with one of my clients. I'm going to call her Sally just for the sake of privacy. But Sally and we were working on her beliefs around money and her beliefs around what it is that she charges in her business. And what we found is that in order for her to get to her goals, she would either need to take on substantially more clients or she would need to charge more. And within her time, constraints and within the energy that of the service that she provides, it's something that requires an awful lot of energy and time from her personally. She wasn't really able to take on more clients. And so we talked a lot about raising her investment, raising the prices that it costs to work with her. And she had a lot of resistance to this, right? She had a lot of resistance because she's like, "Oh man, like I'm struggling to keep my practice full with this many clients at this price. So if I raise my prices, like I'm gonna lose clients and I'm not gonna be able to fill this and I'm gonna be broke and I'm going to," and all of these limiting thoughts start to flow through her head, right? And then all of this resistance started to come up. And so I said, "You know what? Let's just try it." And so she brought on one client. She brought on one client at the higher price. And it's been a few weeks that she's been working with this client. This week, when I spoke with her, she said, "You know what, Heather? I've noticed something really cool. The client that I have that's working with me at the higher price is getting substantially better results and is just flying through our work together because she's made this higher commitment." And so each and every time that she's showing up, we're working on something new instead of working on something that's the same and we're just sort of rehashing things over and over and over again, like her other clients were. So her clients were showing up and they were not really committed and they weren't really doing the work that they needed to do in order to see the results that they wanted to see. And so every single week would be the same thing, just spun a different way, which is not really fulfilling or rewarding, right? I mean, you're not helping people move forward if they aren't doing the work themselves. And then each and every week turns into this fight around like, okay, really? You need to be doing this stuff in order to achieve these results. And yet I'm feeling a little bit frustrated because you're investing in me and I want to give you the results and I'm giving you the way to get there. And then you're not taking action on it. And then we're coming back and we're sort of rehashing the same thing, different story, because you just said, well, oh, making up some excuse as to why you couldn't do it. And so the funny thing is that money is commitment, right? I talk a lot about the Walmart shoes versus the Louboutin shoes, right? So if you buy a pair of heels at Walmart and they cost you like $10, and you buy a pair of Louboutins and they cost you like $1,500, which one of those shoes are you going to take better care of, right? I mean, like, hell, if I had a pair of Louboutins in my closet, I'm not a big shoe fashion girl, right? But had I splurged $1,500 on a pair of shoes, you can bet your bottom that I would be taking damn good care of them, that they would be like, I'd be showing them off and then I'd be like wrapping them in a bag and putting them in a dust cover and putting them away in a way that really takes care of them. But I have a lot of, cheap heels. And I just sort of throw them in the closet. There's no rhyme or reason around them. They may have some mud on the heel because we trekked through the grass and I never really cleaned that up. And it was like, I'll just buy a new pair of shoes, right? I have no commitment to that pair of shoes because I didn't make any sort of financial commitment to them. And so when you find that your clients are not really showing up and they're not really committed to what you're doing, it may be time to look into what it is that you're charging and the value that they're perceiving from your product or service. If you do a group program and people are not showing up and they aren't getting the results and they're dropping off after week two, a lot of times that really comes down to financial commitment. It doesn't come down to the value that you're providing. If the value is there, okay, sometimes it does come down to the value you're providing. Sometimes if you just put together something kind of crappy, and you'll know that in your heart. You'll know, I mean, this was really kick ass or this kind of sucked. And I admit I didn't put my full effort into this. So if you created something that is just completely amazing and yet you have people who just aren't really committed and they're not getting results, it may be that you price it too low. And you probably did so out of fear, and you probably did so out of not really believing the commitment and the value that you're providing. And so the people that are purchasing your product or service, they aren't really believing the value that you're providing either. And they aren't really buying in because at the end of the day, it was just sort of throwaway money to them. And I hate to say that because I don't believe that any money is really throwaway money. But at the end of the day, if I invest $70 in a course, I'm not going to take it as seriously as the course I paid $2,500 for, because that $2,500 feels like a lot more money to me. It's a lot more commitment. Like, I need to get those results. I need to feel like I'm getting that money back, right? Whereas $70, well, I might feel like I got that $70 back within the first day and like, cool, I don't need to do the rest of it. That's where our mind goes. And sometimes we don't even know that that's where our mind is rationalizing. So somebody's working with you at, say, $25 an hour, and they're really taking advantage of you and walking all over you. And you're just saying like, hey, this person doesn't really value my time. They aren't really committed. They aren't really doing their part of the relationship. It may be time to look into raising your prices. Remember that money is commitment. Money is energy, right? Money is that exchange. And so when somebody pays you more, they're saying, I'm more committed to seeing results. Now, you need to be more committed receiving that larger amount of money. You need to be more committed to creating those results, right? It goes both ways. The larger commitment needs to go both ways. You need to be very, very sure that you are providing that level of commitment. And so just think on that for a little bit. Think about the things in your life that you have invested a lot of money into and the commitment that you have to those things, right? I mean, it's the difference a lot of times between people who rent and people who buy. Um, there are, as a landlord and as somebody who has real estate in her family, real estate in the blood, it is very, very common for a rental property to be in not as great of shape as a property that is owned. And that's because you have a greater level of commitment to something that you own because you're living in it. You're paying a lot more for it. You're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to purchase this property. Whereas if you're renting, you're paying month to month, and you're paying, ten or $12,000 a year versus, you forked out a mortgage for $400,000 to buy a house. I mean, there's a greater level of commitment that comes along with that. So take a look in your life at the things that you've committed more to financially. Is it a designer sweater, designer pair of shoes? Is it, you have one car that's nicer than the other? Take a look at how you care for that car differently than you care for maybe like a commuter car that's sitting in your driveway. Take a look at the things that you invest in your life, right? When I spend $300 to get my hair done, well, I take better care of my hair after. I use more expensive products, these salon products. I make sure that I'm taking care of it because I just invested a great deal of money into getting it colored, and I want that color to stay. Whereas if I use a box dye, I'm probably just using like the Pert Plus that my husband has in the shower to wash my hair afterwards, and the color is going to fade out faster, and I'm not going to take as great of care of it. So money is commitment. Remember that when you aren't seeing that commitment from your clients, that could be a reason why. All right, so I will be back tomorrow with another thought of the day, and I'll see you then. Bye.